Are you someone who forgives easily? Hello, friend. Welcome back to the Finding Freedom podcast, where we talk all about how to feel more calm, connected, heart centered, grateful, abundant, and empowered so you can find true freedom and create the life you were meant to be living. So, on last week's episode, we talked all about part one of this four-part series. Part one was about the mantra, I'm sorry. So, this is all about the Ho'oponopono. It is a beautiful Hawaiian prayer that has so much power to these four phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. So if you haven't listened to part one, I really encourage you to go back and listen and learn all about that particular phrase. For those of you who aren't aware, I created a four-part breathwork practice around the Ho'oponopono, inspired by the Ho'oponopono. And so each week we work with one of these mantras. And the idea, of course, is to go in order from beginning to the end because they definitely build off of one another. And there's a lot of releasing and letting go that happens to really kind of clean the slate so you can move into those last practices where you're building that new version of yourself into the current version of you. So after you do the first two practices, you have this new place to start building from. Now, of course, we don't completely wipe the slate clean. You are you. You have your experiences, your memories, your everything that's unique to you that makes you who you are. But it's really about letting go of the things that you're holding on to so that you can grow in ways that you haven't allowed yourself to grow. So today, on this episode, we're going to be talking all about the second mantra, and that is, please forgive me. So we're going to have a discussion today around forgiveness. And so I'll ask you this question. Without forgiveness, can you move forward in life? I think that can be really tricky, right? It's tricky for me anyway. I think that when we don't forgive, we're always holding on to something, right? There's something that happened to us in our lives that we're holding on to, and we refuse to let this go. Our ego doesn't want to let it go. So that thing holds us back. So this working with this mantra, please forgive me, can help us to let this go. And that's what I really want to dive into today, talking about how this can help us to move forward. So let's say you're not forgiving someone in your life. Maybe it's an ex that you had. Maybe they did something to you, betrayed you in some way, you lost their trust, or maybe they hurt you, whether it was physically, financially, emotionally. And so you're holding on to what they did to you, right? You're holding that within the cells of your very being. And that is impacting all of your future choices when it comes to meeting people, especially future partners. Maybe you're pitting that next person up against your ex and have this expectation that they're going to be the same. Maybe you're living in this fear of, or this belief that you don't think you can have someone better than that person who treated you that way. So you might be holding on to whatever it was that happened in that last relationship and it's impacting the future relationships. You haven't really let it go. You haven't forgiven. Now, the forgiveness can be about two things. It can be forgiving the person who you believe did certain things to you, who you are holding blame against. But then there might also be forgiveness towards yourself that needs to happen as well, because you were the person who made the choice to be with that person. Maybe you have kids now, and maybe you regret having had that relationship with that person, not for having the kids. I'm sure you absolutely adore them, and they're the best thing that came out of that relationship. But maybe you wish that you were in a different position because it's not a peaceful position to be in, for example. But that forgiveness or that lack of forgiveness is not serving you, and you know it. And as I said, it's that stored energy within your body, within every single cell. So forgiving is all about releasing. It's all about letting go. It's all about unburdening yourself and others. And this mantra that you can work with, whether you do it through the breathwork practice that I created or you do it in your own way, you're going to move that energy that's not serving you. If that's your intention, that is what you will achieve. So anything you've been carrying around way too long, you can let go of. So, this is that awareness I want to bring to you today. And I want you to start to be in that space of those words, please forgive me, right? And these words can also, like the words I'm sorry, they can carry a lot of charge. So, these words can actually trigger us. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I want you to sit with these words. Please forgive me. And just notice how you feel. If you're able to, if you're somewhere that is safe, like you're not driving, for example, I want you to close your eyes and just say these words. You can speak them to yourself, or you can just listen to my voice. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Just sit with that for a moment. Please forgive me. What do you notice is coming up for you? Please forgive me. You might start seeing a visual in your mind of a person, of a scenario or an experience. It might be something in the past. It's more than likely something in the past, but it might be something that you're grappling with right now. Please forgive me. So just notice how you're feeling into these words. Are you feeling like it's an outward address, or are you feeling like it's an inward one? So are you thinking about another person when you're saying, please forgive me? Maybe someone flashes into your mind of a person that you think you've done something to. Or maybe you see yourself. Maybe it's an inward journey, this one, where you're seeing how you can forgive yourself. So maybe you notice who you're instinctually speaking these words to. Please forgive me. Is it to someone else, or is it to yourself? And if it's to someone else, who is it? And if it's to yourself, why is it to yourself? What is it about? No judgments at all. Just sit with what comes up. Just notice what's there. Please forgive me. You might even be feeling emotions. If you're feeling any resentment or anger, or like you shouldn't be asking anyone else for forgiveness, just sit with that too. The soul's journey can be a real tough one. We go through a lot in our lives. We go through a lot of experiences, and a lot of experiences cause us a lot of trauma. And the trauma can be long term or the trauma can be short term, right? So it might be something that happens that makes you permanently scared of the dark, or it might be something that just causes you to not like a particular type of food, or something that's not really impacting your life all that badly. Maybe it's a fear of snakes. I just saw a snake this morning, actually. But whatever the trauma is that is there for you, that's what we hold on to, those fears that sit within ourselves that every time they get triggered, we don't want to do something because we sit in that space of fear, and that fear can cause us to fight if that's your response. It can cause us to run, avoid, procrastinate, or it can cause us to absolutely feel overwhelmed and just sit in a space of freeze. I'm not moving. I don't know what to do. Holy shit. What do I do? Right? That feeling of like, I can't cope. The nervous system is just not operating well. So, all of that stuff within us, it's not serving us, it's not serving you. So, we want to find ways to let it go. And I know that you're doing that. Just the mere fact that you're listening to this today tells me that this is stuff you work on. This is stuff that maybe you're afraid of it a little bit, or you think you are, but you're also brave enough to go through it. So good on you for being here and listening to this. Really, I really want you to believe in yourself and know that you can cope with whatever you're facing right now, no matter how hard it feels. And I'm going through my own stuff too. So there's no one who's exempt from this. And there are layers, right? That's why this practice that I've created, these breath practices, they're timeless. You can go back and do them whenever you're feeling like, I've just peeled off another layer and I've just revealed all these new fears that have just come up for me. I really want to work through these. So I'm going to go and do that breath practice. I'm going to go and move that energy and see what's on the other side of it. Do that work, reveal that next layer, and then let my body move it, let my breath move it, process it, and then step through it into that higher version of myself. But trauma, we can feel bad about trauma. We can live in trauma. We can stay in trauma if we want to. But really, it happens for you. And this is all perspective, right? Lots of people talk about how we can view things and how our perspective is really important. And it is, because we can see things as happening to us, or we can see things as happening for us. So the trauma that you've experienced, the hardship in your life, the difficulties, they're happening for you. And if you view it from this place of it happening for you, imagine what's there on the other side. And I say this very consciously aware that I'm going through something right now that I really, really desire to see as happening for me. Life is a little bit challenging for me right now, and I know that it's happening for me because it's happening for my growth. So whatever is happening to you right now, it's happening for you. See it as happening for you. See it as that beautiful angel guiding you towards something bigger and better, rather than it happening to you like you're not even a factor in this picture, that all this shit just happens and you just get it, you just end up getting it all over you, right? No, this is happening for you, for your growth. And you can choose to embrace it, or you can choose to see it as like, I don't matter in this whole equation. So things just happen to me. I'm just suffering. That's that real victim mindset, right? We want to move out of victim mindset and into this more empowered mindset. So just know that you have the power to let everything go. You have the power to forgive those who may have hurt you. And most importantly, you have the power to forgive yourself for the things that you've done, for the choices that you've made, because often that's what's happening to us. We are unable to let go because we lay this blame on ourselves, right? Let's say that you had an experience where you were physically attacked one evening and this resulted in some serious trauma. Maybe you don't want to go out at night or you don't want to be alone at night or something like that because that's when that trauma occurred. And that's not something that anyone should happen to anyone. Everyone should feel safe. But if something like that happened and then all of a sudden you've got this trauma response to that particular environment, maybe you're not even blaming the person who did this to you. Maybe you're in a space where you're blaming yourself or you regret making the choice to go there. You know, we often hear people say, if I hadn't done X, then X wouldn't have happened, right? Like it's my fault. I made the choice. Why did I make that choice? That was so stupid. You know, living in that space of regret is not serving you either, right? You're just laying that blame on yourself. You're not forgiving yourself. So you have to forgive yourself for the choices that you make and for the consequences of your actions. And believe that everything is happening for you. And then if you can believe that, then you can actually accept all that you've experienced, even if it was really traumatic and really horrible. And like I've said previously, I'm not at all wishing harm on anyone. And I think we're going to see humanity get to a point where trauma doesn't occur the way that it used to. You know, we're going to get to a point in our existence on planet Earth where war doesn't exist, where violence against women doesn't exist, where violence in general doesn't exist, where people don't murder other people or desire to, or people are not crazy. Like the world will change. I really, really have this deep belief in my heart that everybody wants love. Everybody wants to be accepted and feel loved. And we are moving towards that. So, no, it's absolutely not okay for violence or assault to occur ever. And I don't wish that upon anyone. But if it has happened to you, you can choose to let it go. You can choose to forgive the person who was the perpetrator, and you can choose to forgive yourself for the choices you made. It is actually that simple. Even though I know it's a lot harder in theory to just forgive. But this lack of forgiveness, this inability to forgive, isn't serving you. It's causing blocks within you, and it doesn't harm that person who was involved in that experience that caused you trauma. It only harms you. So you can choose to forgive. And this is what these three little words will start to move within you. The energy of please forgive me will move anger, frustration, regret, sadness, shame, guilt, blame. It'll move all of these out. Maybe it'll take time. Maybe there will be layers. but it will start to move what's ready to move out. These three little words, please forgive me, will create a lot of healing within you. So even if you believe that you've already forgiven yourself or someone else who did this thing to you, doing this practice may still bring up memories because, like I said, we hold these in our cells, right? So those memories might be cellular memories or they might be visual, something that you thought you'd move past because the body doesn't lie. The body releases when it is ready to release. I recently had an experience in a biofield tuning session. I say recently, it feels like it was recently. It was last year, sometime around June or July. I had an experience in a biofield tuning session. So it's a type of sound healing with tuning forks. And I had this experience where when she was combing my field, she discovered or she started asking questions about, did something happen around this particular time in your life? And all of a sudden, I got this flash to my sister who drowned as I would say, 1 year old. And I must have been about 2.5, 3 at the time. And we were out the front of our house. We were playing near the channel, and we knew we weren't supposed to play near the channel. My sister had fallen in and she'd got sucked into the pipe in the river. Now, obviously, 2.5, 3 year old Bianca had to make a quick decision. And I don't know how quickly it took me, but I made the choice to go inside and tell mum and dad that Olivia was in the river. I don't know what I said. I don't have any physical memory of running into the house. I feel and I felt a memory. There are no photos of this occasion, so I don't have a photo memory of it, even though I do see something in my head. I don't remember a lot because I was so little. I remember what my parents told me about what they witnessed. And so when they went back to the river, they pulled my sister out of the river, and my father said she was blue. They resuscitated her and she came back and she was fine, which was amazing. One thing that my mother told me was that I expressed fear for telling her that we were playing by this channel because we weren't supposed to be. We had been told that it was dangerous and to stay away. So it was like me admitting that we had done something that we shouldn't have been doing. And I could have hesitated. I could have done nothing. I could have frozen, but rather I chose to run inside and tell mum that Olivia was in the water. And I'm so grateful that I did. So when I was in this biofield tuning session, that's what came up. And all of a sudden, I had this huge release of emotions and I started crying. Something that I don't physically remember, emotionally remember, visually remember, and yet my body does. I had not forgiven myself for that situation. Ever since that happened to me, that biofield session where she cleared that energy and where I had that emotional release, every time I think of this memory now, there's a stillness within me. I'm not emotional about it anymore. I feel at peace about it. I know that I did what I had to do. And I know that there was nothing wrong with the choices that I made. If anything, I should be really proud of the choices that I made. I shouldn't feel guilty for being a little girl who wanted to play with her sister, even if we were quote unquote doing something wrong or, you know, playing where we weren't supposed to be playing. So I don't feel that anymore. I have released that from my body, from my cells. And this is what can happen when we practice with these words, please forgive me. And of course, as I've said, we can release in so many different ways. So biofield tuning might be a way that you work with forgiveness. But forgiveness is just so important. It's so important that we go through these processes and these steps to let go of the things that we haven't let go of, that we don't forgive ourselves for, and that we don't forgive others for. So this is what this particular practice is going to bring in. It's going to bring in more peace. When you say these words, please forgive me, you're asking for forgiveness from having acted contrary to the divine laws of harmony and love. You're asking forgiveness for the way you acted towards yourself. You're asking forgiveness for the way you've acted towards others. You're also asking for forgiveness for your doubting and your judgment towards spirituality. I know for myself, there was a time when I really couldn't believe and trust and have faith. And I still struggle with that sometimes today. And as I forgive myself, I open myself up more and more each day to spirituality, to my gifts, to my truth, to freedom. It was only very recently through a beautiful, beautiful exchange between a friend that I let go of my triggers around the word prayer. And it was just gone just like that. All of a sudden, one day I woke up and when I said the word prayer, it no longer made me want to cry. So there was something I let go of, something I forgave in that moment. I acknowledged and then let it go. These 3 words, please forgive me, they're going to help you to call in and connect to your divinity, the divinity within you, your source connection, your higher self. You're charging your energy as you forgive, as you release and let go. And as a planet that's quickly evolving, this forgiveness is allowing our evolution to continue. And the more you forgive, the more you welcome in healing for others. And that's going to raise our collective consciousness. So it's going to take us in that direction of more love, of more light, of more healing, of less pain, of less suffering, of less trauma, of less war, of less hate, of less violence, of less aggression. Because when we raise our consciousness, we are not in the space where we want to cause harm. So this practice is an opportunity for deep healing, deep letting go. But you have to want to let it go and you have to ask for that. You need to set that intention in the practice. So as mentioned, there are lots of ways that you can achieve this. It's not just my breathwork practice that will get you there. Of course, that is a fantastic way. You should definitely go and buy it. But how else can you release this pain, this guilt, this shame, and forgive yourself and forgive others? So many ways. If you like writing, journal your thoughts around forgiveness. Write down all the things you want to let go of, all the people you want to forgive, and all the things you want to forgive yourself for. Become conscious of what you want to let go of so that you can, right? Awareness usually helps us to do this effectively. If you like music, listen to a song about forgiveness. There's this beautiful song that Trevor Hall sings. It's literally called Forgive. And without fail, this one brings me to tears every time. It's so beautiful. There is a healing code within that song. And so, like I said, that, when something brings up tears, there's more to let go of. Tears are healing. Tears are opening our hearts. Tears are letting go. Tears are forgiveness. And this song gets me every time. I'm curious if one day it won't, like, it'll cause emotion, but it won't cause tears. And it'll be a feeling of beauty and joy. There's definitely still some stuff that I have to forgive about myself and others as well. If you want to check that song out, I'll link it in the bio. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. So, music is one way. If you like painting, you could even paint forgiveness. What does forgiveness look like to you? What colors are forgiveness? What images are forgiveness? What would you paint on a page if the theme was paint forgiveness? Just see what comes to you. Or you might do it with drawing. You could also write a song if writing is your thing. You could lay on the grass somewhere in nature and just contemplate the words. Just say them over and over to yourself. Please forgive me. And just see what appears. You can pray on these words, literally on your knees, hands in prayer position. Close your eyes, bow your head. Please forgive me. What comes up? What releases? What is there? Of course, as I said, you can go purchase my breathwork. And just so you know, you can purchase the individual single one. So if you just want to work on forgiveness, you can just go see the link below. You can just go and buy just that one practice. Please forgive me practice, the forgiveness breathwork or breathwork for forgiveness. Of course, you can purchase all four together. It is cheaper when you buy all four. It's $144 for the four practices. The choice is yours there. And then, of course, the last one, which I also have a little freebie for you. The last one is to meditate. You can definitely work with this single mantra, sitting with some mala beads, for example. But if you want to experience the full meditation with all of the four mantras, the whole prayer, the I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, then click on the link and download the free meditation. It's in the show notes. And please let me know how it goes. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. I love you so much. And I will see you next week where I will talk all about the part 3, which is the third mantra of thank you. So we're going to be talking all about gratitude next time. So thank you. I love you. And we'll see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.